welcome to Heal with Us, where we aim to inspire, strengthen, and empower. Now
Now
let's
let's
begin
begin
to
to
heal.
heal.
Hey y'all, I'm Toya, and I'll be investigating the business of everyday people like you and I. This is Dr. Nikkisha. She'll be checking in on your heart. And that's Tam. She'll be enlightening you with fun facts you didn't even know you needed. She gets dirty like that. Now that you know us, let's get in their business.
In your business.
All right, so today, I guess we want to kind of recognize the fathers.
Yeah.
So I think maybe I'll just start with the many lovely fathers I had growing up.
Okay.
How's that?
Let's start on the positive. I love that about
Yes.
you.
So I guess I don't know. How do I even start?
Mm,
So I guess they came in all different shapes and forms. Like I remember fifth grade, it was a math teacher. He was a father figure to me. It was the first time I had a male teacher. So I was just amazed, like, men do this?
right, yeah.
But he was just all kinds of science driven, and he wanted us to save water, save the planet. So I was, that was definitely the most positive,
We could have been friends.
yes,
Okay.
experience that I had seen. And so that kind of like that experience opened me up to science. Like I was definitely like, oh, it's a whole new world, with this. And I think at home, my most impactful stepdad, he was there from my most precious years, 12 to 16.
Yes. Mm.
So, yeah, he is a godsend.
Yes,
Yeah, I don't know
definitely.
how I'm still
I
standing
don't
today.
either.
So I just want to say how much I appreciate the stepdads out there,
Yes. Yes.
because I know it's not easy. We, as I guess adolescents, we don't really appreciate them until we're grown, but we do love them. We just want to pretend we don't love them. We
Right.
don't want them to know it. So, but I don't know. I think with him, he stuck to his guns. Like, if I was trying to do things I had no business doing, stay out a little bit later with the friends or go to a party, he was not having it.
No, he was
So,
not.
yeah. So I think the rules, that he instilled were very impactful for me, kept me grounded in, you can't just do whatever you want to do. You gotta have rules.
Yes. Yes, definitely. Okay. I can relate. I mean, well, somewhat. I can relate to the stepdads and happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Because I had no relationship with my biological father, did not meet him until I was almost 14. And, many of the men that crossed my path, whether through my mother or just, like you said, school or whatever, didn't really have a impact, not a positive one.
Yes.
And so my stepdad was very the one who, like Toya said, was there, during our key adolescent years, came in and wanted structure, wanted
Yes.
normality, like normalcy, and it was something that we definitely were not used to having, being raised in a single parent home. But at first I had all the attitude and did not want to listen to a thing he had to say, like, dude, you're not my dad. I don't even know what that is. But learned over the years that it was all in love and began to just really appreciate, him wanting to protect me and protect us, because that's what fathers are supposed to do. But I will say that my first father, I think, in my eyes, was my big brother.
Yeah.
I followed him everywhere. I wanted to, he was my hero, until I got to an age where I wanted to tell him what to do.
Yeah.
And then it
That's
kind of
pretty
changed a
early.
little bit. But yeah, I did look up to him because he was big brother, but he was also the only man in the house at the time. So, he could be very firm with us at times, but also very playful, and, So, I mean, I appreciate him for that, you know. And like I said, we got a little older. I realized, okay, no, you're a big brother, and yeah, I'm not listening to you, but
Yeah, and that's funny
but,
because he's not that much older than us,
all right,
but I always thought he was an adult,
all right,
like my
yeah,
whole life.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
don't remember
old
him being a
soul,
kid.
yeah,
Yeah.
old soul, yeah. But yeah, I'm very grateful for stepdad because I don't think I would know what the role of a father
Yes.
was without him. I mean,
Mhm.
he worked really hard outside the house. He came home and was very, you know, engaged, cooked,
Mhm.
all of that, all the things. He
Yes.
didn't just kind
Mhm.
of like disappear into a room at somewhere. He was actually present.
Mhm.
And you know, even when I got to the dating age, he was very, you know, like, we're not doing it. So, you know, I mean, it was nice to have someone who was showing me boundaries,
Mhm.
and you know, this is what you should expect and what you should accept, and these are the things that you know are not okay. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, for me, um, my relationship with my dad was kind of non-existent. I knew him. I saw him when I was little, but we just didn't have that relationship. By the way, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Um, so no, and he passed away in 2019. And that was very interesting because at that time I was needed. I was needed. So I kind of had to approach that situation. It was difficult. It was
Mm-hmm.
difficult. But I can say the father figures in my life, I would have to say my uncle, my mother's oldest brother. Unfortunately, he passed away last year.
Mm-hmm.
Rest his soul, miss him a
Mm-hmm.
lot. And he called me Pee Wee. I was his Pee Wee,
Oh.
and he did any and everything for me. And he was he was a big man, meaning
Mm-hmm.
tall,
Mm-hmm.
and he looked like Mr. T. He looked like
Mhm.
Mr. T,
He
and
was too
he
funny.
had a very deep voice. He was just a big man, and he had a Santa Claus chuckle, like a. I mean, he had a very distinctive laugh.
Right.
Mhm.
And another male figure in my life was my grandfather.
Mm.
Um, he was just he was my idea of a girl's dad, because he
Mm.
was protecting, he was nurturing, he showed you the things that would make a woman independent or a girl,
Mm.
how to change a tire,
Mm. That's
how to
amazing.
fish, how to
Mhm.
check your
That's so
oil,
good.
those type of things.
Yeah.
And I, my brothers weren't really around for me to, I didn't really grow up with them
Mm-hmm.
to say that I looked up to them as,
Mm-hmm.
I love my brothers to death,
Right. Yeah.
but they just wasn't around a lot. So I would say those two people, my uncle
Yeah.
and my grandfather.
And I have to add now that I'm listening to you, because we have a lot of uncles. They, I think, did play somewhat of a pivotal role in my life. I mean, they weren't like there all the time because they were, you know, some of our family is in another state. And even when we were growing up, they were in another state. But um, even the one that was here, you know, they have a life, but they were present. And when they came, it was like the fun dads, you know,
Mhm.
like,
Mm-hmm.
so we loved our uncles coming in town or
Mhm.
coming over because it was always kind of like just so much love and, you know, and again, not really knowing what the role of a father was supposed to look like. For me, it kind of gave me a little more comfort. Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, this, they're, you know, they're
Yeah.
safe people,
Yeah. And
you
I
know.
can say your uncle, I've met several of your
Right.
uncles, but the uncle that stays in this
Mm-hmm.
area,
Mhm.
I too kind of looked up to
Yes,
him
Mhm.
yes,
because
yes.
he was very patient.
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh,
For him
yes.
to be, to have the girls in his life, he was
Right.
very patient.
Yes,
He
yes.
wasn't, and very gentle.
Mhm.
Yes.
Like,
Oh,
and
yes.
and I feel like a young girl
Yeah.
kind of needs that because people forget that a girl's father is the first man she'll ever fall in love with,
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
and her choice of man or
Mm-hmm.
partner is based on what her father gave her,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
so I do say that about him. He was
Yeah.
very patient. He was very
Yeah,
patient.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I still had to give kudos to my
Yes.
aunt, and that aunt is the one married to the one you're talking about.
Yes.
And they were the ones like, come on, bring all the
Yeah.
children,
Yeah.
okay? Bring them on in.
Yeah.
So yeah, neither one of them ever made us feel like, we don't want you here, or this is too
Exactly.
much, or,
They were very welcoming.
very welcoming and loving. Yeah, yeah.
And they lived in the country too, so it was
Yes.
always
yes.
fun
The
time.
country.
Tractors and all kinds of things
no
to
street
explore.
lights.
Farm
Right.
down the street.
Yes.
Pull up in their yard, you smell hog.
Yes.
Just saying.
Yes, yes. Yeah, we have some very fun adventures.
Yes, we did.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I think not to put a negative spin, but the reality is a lot of people don't have fathers in their life. And like I said, I didn't meet my biological father till I was 14, and we still, to this day, don't really have a relationship. It's just, okay, I know you're my father, but I don't know you, you don't know me, and I'm fine with that. But I think, first experience that I can consciously remember of a male was very traumatic, because my mom is a victim of domestic abuse. And unfortunately, we were there to witness a lot of that. And so instead of me feeling like men were safe and protectors and, providers, I just felt like they were dangerous, and I don't want you to come near me. And I know that kind of came off in a lot of my relationships until I, started, healing and started seeing men that were great individuals, that all men are not that way. But I think it's important to recognize, when you have traumatic experiences, even if it is just not knowing your dad, because that's traumatic. Like we're supposed to have both parents, in our life. Yeah. Mother has one role, father has another role, and they're both very important. So I think just recognizing, the holes that has left, or, the brokenness, and then kind of just allowing yourself to walk through healing is very important, because I try to be careful as far as raising my kids to not allow that fear and that, like, it made me almost have like I need to control everything, because I don't feel safe and I don't feel protected, and try not to push that off on my children, because I knew that they had, especially my daughter's father that loved them and was there for them and was a safe person for them. So, and for me. So yeah, so that, it takes time though, and it does take being honest with yourself and being able to just face some things that are very, traumatic. So.
I kind of can relate with I can't say the domestic abuse part, but when you said just going through that and associating men not being safe, I can kind of relate to that, because growing up, my mother she never brought men around. If they came around, it was a hot minute. Like, I know she had boyfriends, but she made it a point, which I appreciate her for that, that she didn't have these random men around her girls, because she didn't play about me. But I say that I can relate, because not seeing an interaction between two adults like that hindered me a lot with me trying to cultivate a relationship with a male. I didn't know how to navigate it, because I didn't see it. The only thing I saw of it, well, of course I saw my grandmother and grandfather. I saw my aunt and my uncle. But being in it 24 hours, just having a man in the house is different. So when I'm trying to cultivate relationships, I failed a lot because I didn't know what that was. And I knew that what I was seeing on TV, that's not real. So I couldn't base cultivating a relationship with a male or the intimate relationship with a male off of what I saw on TV. So that was hard. I really...
that's a very good
And
point.
I've had a lot of, well, I'm not going to say a lot, but the relationship that I tried to cultivate, I heard the same thing. Oh, you're so closed off. You're so standoffish. You don't open up. And it took me a while and years, some therapy, to understand that that's what all of going through that caused that. And I'm still kind of working on that to this day, to kind of get that, because I don't, like I
Right,
said,
that
I
wall
didn't see
down.
it. I wasn't around it, so I didn't
Yes.
know. I When I said the other relationships with the grandfather and the uncle and the aunt, I saw some things,
Mm-hmm.
meaning infidelity that I shouldn't see.
Right.
Right.
So that threw another wrench in
Right.
the
Right.
the
Yeah.
equation.
Yeah.
So I've been working on that for years. So that's
Yeah.
why I said I can relate to that, because I
Yes.
didn't have a male around.
Right.
So I didn't know what that looked like. I
Right.
didn't
Yes.
know, do you supposed to hold their hand? Do you
Right.
sit by them?
Right.
Do you,
Yeah.
if I
Yeah.
sit by them and lean on them, does that make me a
Mhm.
lady of the
Right.
night? Like,
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I
So,
just didn't
yeah.
know. And it
Yeah.
affected
Yeah.
me so much. And also not having a father's love
Yeah. Yeah.
made me not kind of appreciate
Right.
myself.
Yep.
And so I
Yeah.
put up with a lot of things from
Yeah.
relationships
Yeah.
that I shouldn't have, because
Yeah.
I'm looking for that father's love that I
Yeah,
didn't get.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. And that's what I was thinking. Like, it made me accept a lot of things that were not acceptable
Yeah.
because I didn't know my worth and value,
Mhm.
because I didn't have a father, because that is a father's role to
Mhm.
also show their children their value, give their children their worth, and I didn't have that. So it was like, well, I guess I'm not lovable. And it made me kind of just accept things that,
you
weren't,
shouldn't have.
yeah, I shouldn't
Mhm.
have, like I'm worth more than this,
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think the same thing. Like I had a really good relationship with my dad at one point. Like not when I was probably 10 to 20. I don't know.
Mhm.
I think I thought we had a really good relationship, but then something happened. I still don't really know what.
Mhm.
And we don't even talk,
Yeah.
anymore. So that part is like dealing with that after all the like, the childhood, and then you're an adult now. What what did I do? Like,
Right, right.
so I think even that part definitely affected my relationships. Like he is like genetically programmed to love me.
Right,
Like what
right,
if he
right,
doesn't, then
yeah,
why would anybody else? So
right,
yeah,
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
I
Yeah, and I
definitely
yeah.
had that
think
feeling.
with
That's a
that,
good point,
if you
Toya. Yeah.
can repair that and work on that, and I only say that, and if there's trauma there or triggers there,
Mhm.
I understand that, but I only say that because I was there with my dad on his
Mhm.
deathbed. At that point, I hadn't seen him in, it was some years.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And, as he's, slowly moving on in
Mhm.
transition, I held his hand. Um, and he really couldn't talk, but it was people all around his bed.
Mhm.
The whole time, he looked directly at me.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I'm the oldest child,
Mhm.
but he looked directly at me. And it got to a point where he was trying to say something, but he couldn't. And
Mhm.
I kind of tried to get my hand back, but
Mhm.
he gripped it.
Oh
Mhm.
wow.
And I knew that was
Mhm.
his way of telling me,
Right.
I'm
I'm
sorry,
sorry.
Yes.
please
Wow.
forgive me.
Mhm.
Wow.
And I
Yeah.
said that I cannot continue to go on with my faith and what it taught me
Mhm.
Right.
and not forgive,
Mhm.
Exactly.
because he was dealing with his own
Right.
demons.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
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 that doesn't negate the fact that
Right.
Right.
He wasn't there.
he
Yeah.
wasn't there and
Mhm.
he didn't do his
Yeah.
fatherly duties.
Right.
But at that moment,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I knew what that meant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had to,
Yeah.
at that moment, forgive.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I
That's right.
walked out of that hospital room once he took his last breath. Everything was forgiven. It was like a
Right.
clean slate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
And I think I
blessing.
am like to the forgiveness stage. Like it was a long road because at one point I was devastated for like
Yeah.
years. Like
Yeah.
you couldn't even talk about him, and I would just break down and cry. And then it was like a mourning point
Mhm.
almost. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, he's just not even.
Yeah.
He's just dead to me at this point.
Mm.
But then, I got to the point where I'm like, no, mm-mm. So I have already forgiven him. I
Mhm.
think I'm
Mhm.
open to any conversation with
Yeah.
him. I hold no grudges against him.
Yeah.
And I just feel like you said, I think he did the best he could. Maybe he
Yeah.
has a lot of
Right.
regrets
Yeah.
Right.
and doesn't know how to, forgive himself,
Repair.
maybe.
Yeah.
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 So,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I still love him the same.
Yeah.
I'm here if he ever
Yeah.
wants to talk or anything. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And
What
that's the
say
thing
you?
when like I just think about when you said that was powerful how you said, oh, you're supposed to genetically love me. Like we have the
Yes.
same blood. And clearly because of everyone experiences some type of brokenness and hurt, that interferes with them being able to parent you correctly and love you correctly, because I have, you know, I call them my two sets, my boys and my girls, and my boys' dads were pretty much not there for them, you know, and I kind of felt the same thing, like, how can you not be there for your blood? And, you know, but I had to realize it's not them. It's not me, because for a long time I blamed myself, like maybe it's me, it's something wrong with me, you know, but if you're still dealing with brokenness and you can't, then stay away. And that kind of was, and it's weird because my sons dealt with that, and then like I said, I dealt with that with my father, like just not knowing him at all, and then meeting him, and my first encounter was just as traumatic.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not even gonna talk about it, but yeah. So basically, it was just like clear that he didn't know me and know who I was, because he identified my sister over here as his daughter. So that was a whole nother level of rejection. But you know, God has healed me and worked me through that. But I just say it's hard, I think, when somebody has never been in your life, you've never, like, I don't know how often you were around your dad, but to not be around someone ever, and they're supposed to be your father, is like, how do you reconcile that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I got used to the fact that I don't have a father. You know,
well, I kind of dealt with that, like, as leading up to the final days of his life. The day of going to the hospital, and family members there, niece, his siblings, and they're crying and bawling, and I'm standing there like, am I a psychopath?
Right.
Like, but how can you shed a feeling or a tear for someone that you didn't know?
Right.
So I felt that guilt for a long time, because I'm like, I'm standing at this man's deathbed. He gave me life, and I did not shed a tear. I didn't feel sad. I didn't get that, my face didn't, I just didn't have anything.
I'm sorry.
But I mean,
her face didn't.
no, my face didn't.
Your face didn't.
It didn't.
It didn't.
I cannot with her.
So I don't know, because I'm like, if it was my mom, oh my,
Right.
But with him, it just wasn't. And you know, some weekends when I was little, he would come get me. But the thing of that was, when he would come and get me, he would drop me at my grandmother's house and leave me there, and then come pick me up Sunday when it's time to go home.
Wow.
So we just never had anything.
Relationship,
And I saw how he was with his my two younger brother and sister. And I remember he stayed in a neighborhood where one of my aunts lived. And my aunt was like, you know, your dad lived downside. I said, oh, well, let me go walk up. So at this point, I'm a teenager. I'm maybe 13, 14. So I walk over to their place, and I knock on the door, and I go in, and it's this big old loving family. Like, he's joking around with the daughter, and the son's like, hey, Dad. And I'm like,
wow.
I didn't get that.
Right.
Like, you know, and so then maybe a year ago, I was going through some papers of my mom's and found this, and she was writing a statement or whatever, and I know I wasn't supposed to see these things, but she had wrote down, she was going through some type of therapy or something, and she had wrote down, she doesn't understand why my daughter's dad, I'm not going to say his name, but my daughter's dad doesn't want anything to do with her. And so I'm like, oh my God, like, God, I just worked through this man passing, not having an emotion. I'm at the funeral, people, and I'm like, and now I gotta read this. So it's just, it was a lot of mixed emotions, and I still kind of, I don't know, I deal with it. But his mother, she loved me with open arms, and just, and another wrench that was thrown in there was that he didn't meet my son until my son was, oh my gosh, maybe 14, 15. So I don't know. It's just, I just say, if you can, mend that relationship. It doesn't have to be where you guys are calling each other every day and, hey, Dad, want to hear a joke? Or let's have dinner. No, just put that out there to know that even if you have to say, I forgive you. That's all I want to say to you. We don't have to be, you know, having weekly calls or anything. I just want you to know that. you know.
I guess I'm at the stage in my life, like, what's the point?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, and it's not to be funny or angry or none
Yeah.
of that. It's just like, what's the point at this phase in my life? What is it going to benefit? Is it
I
going to
mean, I
benefit
too felt that
anything?
way,
Okay.
but I also say that because I heard that when you're just talking that there's like a generational thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And so,
Broken in the name of Jesus. Thank you.
hallelujah,
Yes, yes.
that, you know, once you're boys, and I know the oldest one has children,
Yes.
that curse and that it stays broken.
Right, exactly.
You know, and
Yeah.
so I don't know if that would be the end to the brokenness if that was just said, you know, and even if you just open the conversation with, I don't need you to respond, I just need you to listen.
Right.
And this is something I have to do for
Yeah,
myself.
yeah,
And even if you just hang the phone up after that, you did your part.
Right.
But I'm telling you, if it got to that point where you were there and it was those last moments, I wouldn't want it to be where it's a dumping, like,
Right.
you hate, you
Right,
never get,
right.
you know, because
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
that time.
Yeah.
But a part of you, and I'm telling you, a
Yes.
part of you is going to be there that say, God, I wish I would have just
Yeah,
gotten out no matter
yes.
how I felt, for him to know
Right.
this is how I feel.
Yeah, yeah. And I think for some people because you have to realize too, some people's fathers are not like mentally, what's the word? I'm looking for, help me out. I
Mentally
just want to,
healthy?
yeah, thank
Yeah,
you. They're not
or
mentally
there.
stable, or they're not mentally there, like for physical reasons or health reasons, they are not cognizant. So,
And that's okay.
so for that case, I think it's just a matter of taking it to the altar, to Jesus, and just
Leaving it
letting
there.
him help you get it out, because that person is not going to be coherent about what you're saying or what you're feeling. And then some people's, like you were blessed enough to be able to kind of at least say goodbye to your dad in a way that obviously kind of gave you closure. But some people's have, don't have that opportunity, whether their father's already passed on
Yeah,
or
yeah.
they just don't have a clue as to where they are,
Yeah.
So it's like, in that case, it's like all you can do is try to, find your own sense of peace, in that situation and, keep moving forward. But I love how you said, for the sake of not just you, for your children,
Yes.
because I have seen my kids are in very, healthy places, and I can tell, are making decisions that are a lot smarter and wiser than when I was, their age. And they have, my oldest son is married and has a family, something I did not have at his age, So I'm already seeing the generational curse broken off, and very
That is a
grateful for
blessing.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even to listen to my daughter speak, it's never like, I pray, everybody has to go through their own journey, but they always speak with the intention of being someone's wife. And
Well,
that's
that's
important.
great.
That's important to me.
So I was
as
going to
far-
ask you that. Like, have you noticed from the boys and the girls, as you say, a difference in their emotional health
Oh, yeah.
with the girls having their dad, the two of their parent, their parental
Oh,
units,
yes.
whereas the boys just had the one?
Yes. So I'll say my girls definitely are very, what's the word, stable. They're very
Okay.
emotionally stable. There was a time me and my husband separated, and especially for my younger one, she's more, stubborn, and but it was really challenging for her, during that period. So, and it kind of took me back to my younger son, because it was almost like a replica of what I went through. He met his dad for the first time, and his experience was a little bit better, but that was it. And then he saw him, sporadically, maybe 2 or 3 other times, and that to me was more heartbreaking for him than not meeting him at all.
At all, yeah.
Because it's like, okay, well, you're not coming back. What's wrong with me? So
Exactly.
it was like I was living out that rejection with him all over again. So I definitely noticed a difference in there. The girls definitely had, to me, a more secure foundation, and it made them a little more, and not to say everything was perfect, but
Yeah.
it made them a lot more stable in some ways. I mean, my sons, they knew I loved them, but I know I couldn't be a man. I couldn't give them what a
Exactly.
father could give them. So
Exactly.
it was still a little different, still a little more challenging, because, you know, and my husband kind of came into their life when they were, you know, young still, so they got pieces of it, but, you know, it's not the same as somebody, your biological father being there day one to affirm you and all of that, you know, because in the back of your mind, yeah, my stepdad is amazing, but what did I do wrong? You know, like, why is my dad not here? You know, so it's tricky, but.
Yeah, and that's something you said, Tam, about how your dad, you noticed him with this family and just, so it's kind of the same with me. Like, my dad is a good dad, just not to me. Like, he has grandkids, you know what I mean? So I don't, you know, that disconnect is kind of like mind-boggling too.
Exactly.
So
especially if so I saw the family, and then his grandchild is a girl. And so from what I was hearing after, you know, he passed and they're sitting around talking, she was the apple of his eye. And I'm like, I mean, it was just like one blow after the other. Boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, God, can I get a break here?
Right.
Like, you know, I understand you got a sense of humor. I'm hoping he has a sense of humor. He got, the way my life set up, God has to have a sense of humor. Like, he got to have a comedy club up there in heaven, and he is the headline, okay? But anyway, yeah, so to see that, it's like, okay, you was that for the daughter, and you're that for the granddaughter, but, oh, okay. So, yeah, I get it.
That's deep. Ooh.
So I want to like turn it to something positive now.
Yes.
Can we talk about some husbands?
Yeah. Let's talk about the good fathers,
Yes.
the men folk, baby daddies.
So, yeah.
Well, my husband, I met him when his daughter was 9, and he, I mean, did any and everything, and still will for this young lady now, because she's a young lady, but he loved his daughter to the ends of the moon, would do anything for her. And there was one particular time, hilarious. We were at I don't know if it was a flea market, and she saw these, you know how in the flea markets back in the day, they would have like the knockoff designer clothes and shoes, where they were these knockoff Nike Air Force Ones. And she just wanted those things. These things were so fake. It was like you picked the shoe up and kind of bang it. It was pure plastic, and it was like hard as a rock. And then I mean, her eyes was twinkling. Dad, I want these shoes. I want these. He said, girl, I'm not buying that mess for you. This girl, I mean, I don't know, she was maybe 12 or 13. I don't even know if she was that old. She copped a terrible attitude because he would not buy these plastic knockoff Nikes. He said, I'm not doing it. He said, I don't care. So I'm like, but can't you just, I don't want to hear it. I'm not buying them. Their feet be messed up. I'm not buying this. And she pouted all the way to the car. She was hot for like 3 days because she wanted them shoes. And I felt bad. I was going to go sneak and buy them and tell her, just don't wear them when you come over here. Wear them.
Right.
But I said, no, I'm not going to do that because that's contradicting his word.
Right.
And he is the man of the house. So that just was so hilarious. And we pick on her to this day about that.
Hilarious.
But she wanted them shoes so bad. And it was like, he was like, well, we'll go to the mall and go get some real ones. Like, chill out.
Right.
I want these. I was like, oh my word.
Gracious.
But yeah, he's an excellent father to his daughter, and he continued it on with the granddaughter. So now it's like the daughter just kind of got kicked to the curb, but
that's what happens when the grandchildren come along.
So
it's not your turn anymore.
No, not at all, not at all. So he's an excellent father to his children. So
That's good. I have to say, for me, my husband kind of did show me what a father should look like. He was always very hands-on. I got a beautiful stepdaughter out of the deal. But like before I had my girls and we were taking care of her or helping to take care of her, just seeing him like take her clothes out for school and just do like the little things. And I'm like, oh my God, dads do this, Because, I'm always the one who was like doing that for my kids. So to see him actually like, and then loving it, like not acting like it's a chore. He was just very hands-on when he could be and very in the moment. Even now, like with my girls, with all the kids, he's like so laid back and easygoing. Like they talk to him about anything and everything, and I'm like, okay, why when I come in the room it's crickets? Okay, not all the time, but but it just comes so natural for him, So, but definitely they know that without him saying a word that he loves them to life, So I'm very appreciative of that.
And then my lovely husband. He has a daughter. She's grown, of course, but I love their relationship. Like they're very playful. I think whenever she's here or whenever he's up where she lives, they make sure to see one another. And then he has a grandson now too. So my first boy. All girls. So we love seeing him. Like,
so is he a pop? Is he? What is he? What granddad?
What are you?
Oh.
Don't know? Okay.
What is your title? Yeah. Pop.
Yeah. I got a pop too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's very, me and him are very opposite. So he's like very outdoorsy, hands-on, where I'm like, but the grass got microscopic bugs and stuff in it. I don't really want to go out there. So the kids, my girls love that he's like hands-on. Their grandson loves that. Like they go running around the backyard and, having a good time. So, but he's very hands-on, and I think that was new for them. He is very traditional. So he's we're sitting at the table to eat kind of person.
I love it.
Wow.
I cannot get my family to participate in that.
So about that, I never could. Like we would just eat when we ate, and then we would just float and whatever. He comes in the picture, everybody at the table talking about how their day went, and I'm like, really? This is what we're doing?
Help us out. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
I must say that I noticed I'm a late comer to knowing your husband, but I was over you guys' house a couple of weeks ago, months ago, whatever. I must say I sat back and I watched him with Sugar Mama.
Oh,
that's the granddaughter.
And I just was in awe, almost tears rolling. I had to look away because of the way she was looking at him and looked up to him, and he was so gentle and kind to her, and just so I'm
she's
like,
so cute. How can you not be?
I love Sugar Mama. She's the cutest thing ever.
She's such a sweetie. She'll put his hat on, get in his chair, be like, "Look, I'm Babu today, y'all." So yeah. So I just admired that little snippet that I saw.
Yeah, and if I may brag on him, so we've been together forever.
You have.
You have. Seen the good and the bad.
She has, and the ugly.
And I have never seen someone treat all your children so amazingly.
Yeah. Even the mean ones.
Even the mean ones, the disrespectful ones that make you want to do some, y'all already know. What the old school people used to do, go get a switch. Yeah. But he has just always been so patient and loving and understanding with them. And I'm happy for them, and I'm happy for you for that, because kids need to see that, even with our stepdad, like we were very disrespectful sometimes to him.
Sorry.
Not knowing, but, that he was trying to be a dad and be protective. But later on, they see that this person really genuinely loved me, because if they didn't, they would not be going out their way.
They wouldn't even care.
Right, exactly, exactly.
Yes.
So, yeah. So I'm grateful for you for that. Well, this was lovely, ladies.
I mean, when we talk about husbands, so I need to talk about your husbands too then. So your husband, I'm going to just say, is a great uncle as well as dad, because Keisha, the baby's coming over. I got to work a double shift. Y'all got him? And he would not ever, complain or, I don't know, sometimes he probably felt like, She bringing them again.
Right,
They
yeah,
coming
but
again.
that's all the brothers
Yeah,
and sisters.
yeah.
Like, which one of your nieces and nephews going to have this weekend?
But he's always been like a real brother to me, like not just, you know.
I just have a
brother-in-law.
question. Does he talk loud? He yell? He don't look like he yell.
Only when he's very angry. And
He
that's
yells?
not, and that's not often.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Because
I
he's
don't
a
see it.
very
Yes.
quiet and
Yeah.
just
Yes.
to himself and
Yeah.
just. And I was looking, because y'all know I have crazy thoughts.
Oh,
Because I was talking about the cow tongue thought
Oh,
the other
yeah,
day.
yeah.
But I was looking, I was like, I wonder, does he yell?
That's
So he does
very
yell?
interesting thought to have, but yeah.
I mean, it
Not
just,
often.
I'm
Well, I will say years ago when we were raising the two younger boys and our stepdaughter, oh, you would have heard lots of
yeah,
yelling.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. The girls are totally different. They're a different breed. Yeah. Yeah.
And then yours, like from the first time meeting him.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Hands on, all about living his best life. So
yes,
yeah.
yeah.
And
And
I
that's
don't
so
think I've
hard.
ever seen him negative. Like he's always upbeat when I see him.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's
he loves
pretty much-
kids.
Yeah, well, the kids love him. And
Yeah,
it's not
yes.
really him.
Uh-huh.
It's not, well, no, it's not really him. Right now, it's the beard. It's the beard. But
Yeah.
before the beard, it's the smile. Because he got like this teethy smile. And so all the kids and the little girls, especially the little girls, they're like, they just all like, Mr. Frosty. And then it's the name. It's the name. And it's
Mr.
like,
Frosty.
pumpkin, it's not the snowman.
Right.
It's not the snowman. So, but yeah, that you hit the nail on the head.
Yes.
He's not a negative person. You only got one life, live it to the fullest. He's about making everybody happy. He's about just no negativity. He's about laugh, because he's always making me laugh and doing something silly.
Yeah.
So yeah, you hit that on the
Yeah,
head.
he told me to mess up Tam's house one time when I was there.
Did he? You know what?
I'm gonna get him when you get there.
I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
So, I mean, I appreciate all the dads, especially the dads that are stepping up and doing their best. Like, I know sometimes people will try to keep you away, but just keep, trying your best. And your kids do appreciate that, even though you don't know they see that.
Yeah.
So,
I'm glad you said that. 'Cause I just had a conversation with one of our brothers about showing up no matter what.
Yes.
Don't back down, because they are your children too. So,
they need you.
Yeah, they do, even when they don't know it. So
Yeah.
yeah. So we appreciate you, fathers, and we hope that y'all are loved on extremely today, and that you see the blessings that you are. And for those of you who have experienced, growing up without a dad, just know that you always have a heavenly Father who loves you and who is embracing you and who wants to let you know that he's always there, even when you think he's not. So he has a heart for you, and you're okay. You're in good hands. So, happy Father's Day to everyone.
Happy
out there.
Father's Day.
Yes.
I don't really have much. I got a question. Can the powers that be make a happy Aunt Day?
I think there is an Aunt Day.
Is the Aunt Day?
There's
It ain't
some
a
of
nationally
everything.
recognized
It's
day.
not nationally recognized.
But I'm gonna need it to be.
We're gonna
happy
find out when
Aunt
that day
Day,
is.
because I'm a superior aunt,
Okay.
and I'm gonna need that.
She's serious
I mean,
about
even
that,
though I
y'all.
got Mother's Day and
Yeah.
But it's not about the aunties today. It's about the daddies.
I know, but I'm just saying, like the aunts need a day.
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Right there.
But happy Mother. I mean, Jesus.
We
Happy
already did that
Father's
one.
Day to
Yes.
all the fathers out there,
Yes.
and even the bonus dads.
Yes.
Yes.
Happy,
Happy
Father's,
Father's
Day.
Day.
Relax and enjoy your day.
Yes.
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 And tell us what you want, because we don't know what to pick out.
Especially for that man that got
Mine
everything.
will. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
lucky.
Yes. Okay.
Oh.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Heal With Us.
And remember, healing is a process, so take it one day at a time.
And also, I know you guys know where to contact us, but we are on all social media platforms, okay? All the ones you can think of. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all of them. Heal With Us 3. You can email us any questions, show ideas, healwithus3@gmail.com.
Heal with us.
In your business.